When I first quit my counseling job, I used to work as a substance abuse, drug and alcohol counselor at an outpatient traditional treatment program. And I worked there for several years at the same place that I did my internship at. And this is after going to school and getting a schooling in drug and alcohol counseling and doing that whole KDAC certification and paying all that money and going through all that training. Then my internship. Then I worked in the field for a few years. I remember sitting in my counseling office with a client actually one day. And I had been wanting to quit for a while. I was so burned out. My caseload was so way too big. It was actually illegal how many people they had on all of our counselors' caseloads. That place was just so profit driven, did not care about the clients and the patients at all. It was just all about money. So I wanted to quit there for a while, but I just didn't have the cojones to, because I had gone to all that training, I spent all that money, I did all that schooling and the interning, and it was definitely better than going back to restaurants, which I had done before. It was definitely better going back to customer service, which I had also done before. But I remember one day, I remember this specifically. It feels like yesterday when I'm thinking about it. And my intuition, my inner soul guidance system told me, it just sent me this huge signal and was saying to me, your time here is up, it's time to move on. Normally I'm really present. I was really present with patients and clients, depending on whether they were on medications or not. And I just remember just sitting there going, whoa, it hit me literally like a ton of bricks, or figuratively like a ton of bricks. I was just like, whoa. And I think within a week after that, I gave my 2 weeks notice. I knew I had to give my 2 weeks notice because for number one, I knew I wasn't supposed to be there anymore. I felt that inner soul guidance system calling me to the future, getting out of my comfort zone. That career was a great stepping stone into what I'm currently doing. I had never been an entrepreneur before, except for when I was a cannabis dealer and sold other drugs at times, but mostly cannabis. And that was like my only entrepreneurship. And that stuff sold itself back when it was illegal here in California. Of course, it's legal recreationally here now, and it sells itself. So I was really afraid. Was I smart enough to become an entrepreneur? Was I disciplined enough? Was it the right timing? Did I know enough about entrepreneurship? And my answers were like, no, 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 no to all those limiting beliefs. But eventually, I went to a Tony Robbins seminar, Unleash the Power Within, and that gave me the motivation and, more importantly, the belief. I crushed all those limiting beliefs, and I had the belief that I could do it. Now it's just a matter of, getting up the courage to give my 2 weeks notice at that place. So that day in that session with that client, I felt that. It hit me like a ton of bricks, like I said, and I just knew, oh, wow, I can't do this anymore. It was like making me not just hate it all of a sudden, like I was like not even able to do it. Just that's how powerful of an internal signal that I was getting. So giving my 2 weeks notice to my boss, probably within a week after that, that was my way of burning the ships. If you've never heard the story about, I think the name is Hernan Cortez and his army, they, centuries ago, they went on a conquest to go, destroy a civilization. And when they got all their ships there, went across the sea, landed, and I'm not sure if this story's true, but it's a cool story. He ordered all of his men to burn their ships. Why did he do that? Because if they burned all their ships, they didn't have an escape route. They didn't have a backup plan. They were either going to win or they were going to die because they couldn't escape. So giving my 2 weeks notice at that career was my way of burning the ships. And then after that happened, I felt this huge sense of relief. And then after my last day and packed up my office, and I remember driving home and just literally driving into the sunset. I was driving towards the ocean where I lived right by the beach, away from the facility, and the sun was setting, and I had my plant and my light and a few other things from my office. And I just felt so awesome, like this new chapter of my life. So the first thing I did when I got home was I started to get organized. And more importantly, I started to create a vision for what I wanted my future to look like. That vision that I started to create was the current life that I'm living. Matter of fact, the current life that I'm living is even beyond the vision that I had in many regards. And it was like coaching people and creating content and being a private practice addiction recovery coach and doing things like blogging and coaching and doing this virtual treatment stuff on here and sharing it with the world. That was the vision that I had come up with. And so then that vision was so motivating for me. And then once I had that vision foundation, then I actually had the intrinsic drive and passion and focus to start to get organized, start to see what I could start doing with what I currently had. And at that phase, a lot of it was learning, a lot of it was reading books, and also, going to seminars and going to workshops, business workshops, marketing workshops. Like I said, reading lots of different books, journaling a bunch, and just really just taking this new direction and running with it. Of course, I was scared, but it was very exciting. I knew that this is what I was meant to do. I knew I was meant to help people with addiction. I also realized after several years of doing it that it wasn't meant to be in mainstream treatment, making like $16 an hour, having a caseload of literally 100 people. I had a caseload of 100 people that I saw during an average month. It was just so much paperwork, so many rules and regulations, so profit-driven versus, human compassion-driven. It was disgusting, at least at the place I worked at. And I know a lot of places, unfortunately, are like that.